Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Astrology Today and Tarot. My name is Mel Rose. This is the Tarot portion and the second half of my daily astrology vlog, which you can check out on my other channel, Astrology Today with Mel Rose. Here I will discuss the tarot card that sits on the side of the page. Then I'll do a quick review of the day's aspects before I play another card that may give us something to think about. So let's get into it. The card that currently sits on the side of the page is the Nine of Pentacles. It's changed today, okay, because we've entered the second 10 days or the second decan of the sun's transit in the land of Virgo. Virgo is an earth sign. Pentacles or coins in tarot are also earth. And earth element symbolism has to do with the material resources we have and what we can and will do with them to create more security and support for ourselves in our lives. And here we have the Nine of Pentacles, okay, who is sort of this very optimistic symbol for, for having everything that you might need or desire, for living in a comfortable, materially supportive way, okay? This represents sort of enjoying the fruits of our labor, like having done all that work that we saw with the Eight of Pentacles and, having learned something or created something that has value for ourselves and others, we can now enjoy the fruits of that labor. It also represents, being able to support yourself well, represents a certain amount of independence. We're not as beholden to other people as we might be if we did not have the same amount of resources available to us. And, fruits of labor, that's also just the rewards that we get for doing the hard work, making the diligent effort. Okay, so this is a card that speaks the word opulence to me. Okay, this person is living in luxury. They're wearing wearing clothes that look kind of richly adorned, and they interestingly enough have a bird with them, and to me that usually indicates sort of that personal wisdom, sort of being in touch with and sort of in control of, or at least in a good working relationship with our own intuitive, instinctive nature. And this is all, due to our intelligence, and it's also due to a certain amount of self-control. And this is also representing an achievement that's going to last us a long time. Okay, so this isn't temporarily rich. This is, this is actually having done the labor to put ourselves in a position where we can't fall from where we are, okay? And with all of that said, I'm going to go ahead and shuffle some cards. I'll remind myself and the cards that the sun is in Virgo. We've entered the second 10 days of the sun's transit through Virgo. And so this is a time when, we've been sort of looking around us and assessing what material resources we have, what work we can do with them to create something of value for ourselves, right? And, having done that, we now begin to sort of rearrange the resources, whether that's, using our bodies, using our money, using other material resources that we have, we begin sort of pushing things around, mixing and matching things, rearranging them in such a way that, we can find something that has a lot more value for us. And then, and time is of the essence here because we are in the middle of three harvests. And like I keep saying, a lot of people have just begun their sort of educational journeys or begun a new part of their educational journeys. So we still want to be giving our time and effort to the creation of our resources, to the building of our resources. We can be enjoying the fruits of our labor right now, but that doesn't mean necessarily that we rest, that we stop working altogether, okay? And then the moon is a crescent moon, nearly first quarter, okay? Waxing crescent, nearly first quarter moon. In Scorpio most of the day. It'll move to Sagittarius later on this afternoon. And, the waxing crescent moon in Scorpio, I mean, that's a perfect time for Scorpio because, we are working on creating plans. We've set some goals, we've set some intentions, we made some goals, hopefully some to be met by the full moon, but also longer term goals. And we've been laying our plans, and Scorpio is a great time to be laying our plans because we can kind of, you know, we can do so in a really powerful way that makes them actionable when it comes time to take action tomorrow with that first quarter moon. We can do so in a way also that, you know, reflects our deeper purposes, our, you know, our not just our fears and insecurities, but those transformations that we've been working on, those deep and total transformations we've been working on. The plans we are making right now probably reflect those deeper purposes, and therefore will bring us closer to the larger goals that we have for our lives. So keep laying your plans, but today is the time to tie that up, because tomorrow we are going to shift gears from making plans to taking actions on them. And on the moon side of the page today, moon goes trine with Neptune pretty close to 8 o'clock this morning. We can feel very artistic at this time, very creatively inspired. Maybe we want to write or paint or just connect with other people in a way that, you know, that engenders more creativity, engenders more dreaming, right? More fantasizing, more making beautiful things up for ourselves. And then moon goes sextile to Pluto today at 11:22 a.m. And, you know, we can work well together with other people at this time, but we are really seeking connections that go deeper. And whether that's with people or, you know, with a book or some other work of art or, you know, out in nature, we don't want the connections that we find at this time to feel superficial. That's not going to work for us, and it's not going to help us have the positive outcome we're looking for. So, you know, avoid those superficial interactions. And I also say avoid interactions with people that you don't want to have a deeper connection with, right? Sort of seek out those people or those other things that give us that satisfaction, that feeling of connection, and that we want to have a deeper connection with. And then at 12:22, an hour later, the moon goes square to Venus. So, you know, when the moon is square to Venus, we can be a little self-indulgent, a little desiring, perhaps on the needy side. This is sort of a self-care, self-preservation challenge, right? You're going to make sure to try to provide for yourself what you would normally ask of others. And then the moon goes void of course for 5 hours. So this is the time when we really do sit back and hopefully reflect, meditate, write, journal, read, whatever it is that you do that helps you calm your mind and focus your intentions so that you can have those heart-to-heart conversations with yourself and with spirit. While the moon is coming to us relatively direct at that hour, we can really have conversations about what's going on within ourselves and, you know, how we want to be, what we want to do going forward. And then after that 5 hours of void, of course, moon goes into Sagittarius. And, you know, this is moon in Sagittarius is very adventurous and philosophical time of the heart and in the home. And, you know, we are open to and we seek out sort of universal truths, right? So that we can relate to people on that level. And then on the sun side of the page today, Mercury goes in opposition to Jupiter. So this can leave us, that's that one right there. This can leave us feeling a little bit undisciplined, okay? We're easily distracted. We're probably looking for a good distraction. Mercury is in Libra, so I would say, you know, we might be seeking out distractions in terms of our friendships or our love relationships, or maybe even just distracting ourselves by spending money, right? And then Jupiter is in Aries, so the opposition, you know, that we feel sort of, that our mentality feels to the growth that we are seeking is going to, you know, manifest in us not acting on that growth, likely to manifest in us not acting on that growth, okay? And we take action for growth right now, okay? So the urges of the rational mind at this time might not be working together with our sense of personal inner growth. And that's something to keep in mind. That's later on this evening. And then, you know, in the ongoing column, Sun is quincunx to Jupiter. And this vibe is a little bit like, you know, with quincunx comes uncertainty, okay? So this is a little bit uncertainty around, you know, our conscious selves, our outer life self, the person who, you know, makes friends with people out in the world and who goes to work and who engages in the civic life, is sort of also in this nearly oppositional space with that sense of interpersonal growth. Okay, so we're struggling a lot against the limitations that come with the commitments we've made. You may have noticed that anytime you make a commitment, anytime you say, yes, I'll do that, there are going to be like rules and restrictions. There's going to be, you know, a form you are expected to follow in order to get that commitment made. And, you know, we may be struggling a little bit against that. We may be just like, you know, suspicious of what we're being asked to change in terms of our desire to grow, right? And you know, there's a desire also here for us to be able to see that there is more to life or more to what we're doing right now than this sense of obligation to an authority in our lives, right? Because having this idea that there's just this sense of obligation, authority can make us a little grumpy. So be patient, you know, we don't know where this growth is taking us at this time, but I can promise you that struggling against the commitments you've made, struggling against the people that you are responsible to, or the institutions you are responsible to, are not going to help the cause at all right now, okay? Mars, on a better note, Mars is sextile to Jupiter at this time, okay? So we really have this initiative, this sense of initiative, and Mars is in Gemini, so it's really like a very communicated initiative. We're broadcasting our moves. We're letting people know what we're going to do. We're letting people even collaborate with us to, you know, have a say in what we're going to do and how we're going to behave. And we're willing to try a couple of different things. You know, we're willing to do, you know, to make more than just one effort to get where we're going in our collaborations, right? So this is really great. All those actions that we're taking, all those collaborations we're making, that communication we're making, that willingness to try things a couple of different ways, that's all contributing in a really cooperative way to the personal growth that we seek. And then we have a special shape here, okay, called a yod. And here what we see is Venus is quincunx to two planets, Neptune and Pluto. And those two planets are sextile to one another. Okay, so Neptune and Pluto are really cooperating with one another. This is, you know, our fantasy, our capacity to dream, our capacity to make up beautiful scenarios, okay? Our capacity to create beautiful things in a really cooperative vibration right now with this, with the part of us that brings about endings and beginnings, right? The part of us that sort of brings us through the highest of our highs and the lowest of our lows, okay? So I love that Neptune is cooperating with Pluto right now, because, you know, we're doing this inner growth so that we have a bigger capacity to hold bigger, grander things that we can make up for ourselves and then move toward those transitions sometimes in a really conscious and active way, right? We can take initiative on those things. But Venus is in this quincunx, and again, that's sort of a wobbly vibe. It's an uncertain vibe to both of those planets. So it's almost like, yeah, they're having this great conversation. They're cooperating with one another. They're coming up with great ideas, but they're not really talking to us in terms that we can understand clearly. Okay, this is happening subconsciously, and this is our conscious desire to receive, right? So we're trying to receive what those new dreams are, what those bigger capacities are. We're trying to understand what our fantasy life is telling us and what our deeper sense of knowing is telling us. And we're not getting the message very clearly right now. So, you know, this is a situation that just points to patience in terms of, you know, receiving, okay? If you don't know what it is that you're trying to get in terms of real personal transformation, if you don't know what it is you're trying to get in terms of understanding your own creativity, your own dreams, it's okay. It's okay to be patient. This is information that will rise to the surface, but not if we, keep grasping at it, really. And then also we have this beautiful big shape. It's like a cross in a box. You see that? So Venus and Saturn are opposite to each other, and just for today, the Moon and Uranus for a little while are also opposite to each other. So this creates this thing like a cross in a box. It's called a grand cross. And, I wrote this: resolute in our actions, we strive to balance emotion and desire against personal security and civic commitments. Moon and Venus are both in their way sort of about our emotional life and what it is that we desire for ourselves, what feels secure, right? And then Venus also rules Taurus, where Uranus is residing for several years at this point. So, this is very much about how we're feeling in terms of our personal sense of security, and that also has to do with our sense of material security, having everything that we need, having a safe roof over our heads, that kind of stuff. So Uranus has been messing about with our personal sense of security, and then Venus is over here sort of searching for security by showing off and seeing what she can grab. And then the Moon is down here, like deep in our feelings, deep feeling our fears and insecurities. So this is all about personal security, and this over here is all about maintaining our respect for and our commitments to our community, right? So, now's not the time to run experiments on your life. If you're struggling with insecurity in any way, and a lot of us are, then now's the time to do what is tried and true. Do what will work. And in this case, Saturn is calling on us really to reassess our commitment to community, to start showing up in places where we would like to say that we show up, but that we don't. To show up in ways and for people that we would like to say that we have shown up for, okay? And by attending to that personal sense of commitment to our community, the other security items might fall into place. And that's in terms of emotional security, because when we give to others in the social or civic setting, then they will respond in kind often. And then, or, you could just say Saturn rules karma, and what goes around comes around. So what you give is something you're going to receive in some way. You just can't be certain how, right? Just understand that, all of this is striving for security, and this is pointing the way to find some, all right? So really get engaged in your civic commitments, get engaged in your community, recommit yourself to those things that are important in terms of you're feeling secure in the civic life. And if you can contribute in a way that helps you feel secure and that helps other people feel secure, then these other security issues will not weigh so heavily. And that's also very, appropriate with the Nine of Pentacles coming on board today, because this is about physical security, and physical security is emotional security, okay? We cannot feel emotionally secure when we are physically secure. So these two things are very much interconnected. Okay, and with all of that said, I'm going to go ahead and toss this card. Seven of Wands. Okay, so the first thing that comes to my mind is that we're going to have to fight for it a little bit, okay? Perhaps that's in terms of, getting involved again, or recommitting ourselves to certain social or civic causes. And, that means, that meaning that we're going to have to sort of stand up and fight for things that we know that we know are right, or stand up and fight against things that we know are wrong. But in either condition, it's standing up to maintain security in the space that we have claimed for ourselves, okay? Wands are fire in Tarot, and that's about drive and spark and determination. So, we have to be really determined to, to be engaged in the fights of our civic cohorts. We have to be really determined to show up for our communities in a way that shows that we will defend them. Absolutely. That we will work for them and that we will fight for them because they are us and we are they, right? Let's see, initiative meets positive expansion, especially with collaboration. Okay, so, here you see this person sort of defending the ground they have gained against some competitors. But, I've suggested before that, sometimes competitors are just collaborators or co-conspirators in disguise, right? So, you can befriend people who seem to be coming after what it is that you have and, sort of let them in on the game, let them in on the secret, or let them in on, the thing that you're ambitious about so that they can be your collaborators instead of your competitors. Either way, competition is good. It helps us work harder to achieve and maintain what we've earned. But, collaboration is especially powerful, and it's especially powerful at this time, especially, I can see almost like the inner growth that we're having right now is more about a willingness to collaborate, a willingness not to sort of resist different drives and urges that come into our sphere that, might help us propel forward, but not maybe in the way that we initially conceived the whole idea, right? So look for your collaborators at this time. See what more can be made of those big dreams and plans that you're making. And taken together with the Nine of Pentacles, again, there's no reward without effort. So, you're going to make some achievements. You're going to have to sort of build some security around what it is that you want to keep for yourself, okay? One thing I notice in the difference here is like this person has achieved a higher ground, okay? But this person has built a wall around that ground. So this person is sort of maintaining that ground just by fighting people off. And that's a lot of energy expended, and it's also a lot of energy we could be expending on, turning our attention toward the nurture of our resources. It's a lot of energy that we could be expending on building up a secure perimeter around our land so that we don't have to worry about sort of the people at the gate waiting, to see what they can get of what we have earned. And I think that's all I have to say about it today, friends. I truly appreciate your presence here. My name is Melrose, and I'll see you all back here tomorrow for more Astrology Today and Tarot.